The Hyperspace. Podcasting in the 25th Century presents...
The Skeleton Chronicles. Our discussion and review of the Disney Plus series Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Welcome in, podcast pirates, to the Skeleton Chronicles. This is our discussion and review of the Star Wars series Skeleton Crew. And as always, my name is Jared.
My name is Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm Lindsay.
Nailed it this week.
Wars Crew.
Yeah. We're back. You know, we fibbed a little bit to you on our last episode. We said we were going to come back after 3 episodes.
We tried.
And talk. But, you know, Lindsay wasn't going to be able to join us. And there wasn't going to be a show without Lindsay. So
gosh.
we waited an extra week and we saw the finale. So we're going to be talking about the back half of this series and the series as a whole, because the story is told, it's all out there, and we're going to tell you what we think about it. So before we get started, however,
well, just in case.
Yeah, in case you haven't watched it yet. I tried to spoiler lightsaber last time with disastrous results.
That was bad.
But today I got something that could never possibly harm me.
Well,
something
it's kind of like Wim using a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I have with me a spoiler Ewok.
Oh, jeez, my God.
That looks vintagey.
It is. It's from 1983. And
I
what
see
I
the
wanted,
mothballs on it.
Thing has tasted human flesh.
it doesn't smell good. But hey, Mr. Spoiler Ewok, what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you the high sign, and you're going to give us the spoiler alert. How's that sound? Again, not a video podcast, so you're just having to sit through this. All right. Go for it.
What is that? I think that's Ewok, Lindsay, for he has a dress for you.
What? What is? Oh, you're going back to the Leia thing.
I'm bringing it right
come
back.
on, man. We talked about this, spoiler Ewok. Okay, you know what? Forget this.
Just hit the button, dude.
Okay, Brian, hit the button. Let's just get this started.
Guys, if you have not watched The Skeleton Crew, we are going to spoil everything. Every piece of it, every character, every plot line, every fault, every win. You're going to hear.
Your lack of faith disturbing. That's the button. Okay.
That's a good button. So let's dive in, man. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, right off the bat, we stopped at episode 4 last time. Episode 5 was probably my favorite episode of the series.
So good.
Where they visit the pleasure planet, and there's all manner of craziness and aliens abounding. There's a Hut taking a mud bath who tries to eat his waiter, and the waiter says,
"Not again,
not again." So has this poor man gone through a Hut's digestive tract a few times?
So that is the most Star Warsy episode maybe out of any series they've made yet. It really felt like it was right out of one of the movies to me. Like it had the humor, it had the right characters, it had good casting. Oh my God, who was that played the set? The set looked amazing. Who played the bounty hunter? What's her name?
Her name was her last name is McDonald, and she is the voice of Brave from the Disney movies, and she was also in Boardwalk Empire. She was in Boardwalk Empire. She's an Irish actress.
Yeah, she's so good, and she was awesome as that. I mean, the whole cast in the show is great.
Those
but
crazy eyes.
Yeah, the makeup was fantastic.
I loved it. Every bit of it.
It sort of kind of reinforced this Jod as this character who's probably left a bunch of human wreckage in his wake in his travels through the galaxy, and that episode in particular stood out to me
You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there real quick, just to get it going. So Jod, we could talk about Jod
Mhm, mhm.
extensively, but was he in the end just a user, or was there something more to Jod? Because we kind of got a hint of some like humanity in him earlier on in the show, but it really kind of dipped off and it went to a dark place and kind of stayed there.
Yeah.
I kept expecting a redemption moment, and I kind of liked that it didn't happen. I was like, no, he just kind of sucks.
It just
Yeah.
kind
Like,
of
It's
like
sucks.
just
he won't kill kids. Like that's an important, I think,
yeah.
distinction. Like he doesn't let it show, but he has enough of a soft spot for them that he like doesn't want them to die or doesn't want to
Uh-huh.
kill them. But
Yeah.
otherwise, he is just a jerk.
Yeah. He doesn't mind if they get hurt a little bit, but
Yeah, but he doesn't like he
Sure.
seemed sad when jumping to the end a little bit with KB. Like he seemed genuinely upset
yeah.
about that. So
Well, yeah, and he was when her ship was going down, he was like, and he's like, you all did this. This is your fault, man.
Yeah.
And he seemed upset about it.
yeah.
Um, and I thought his backstory was interesting. And I re-listened to our first episode that we did today to sort of refresh myself, and we were all of the opinion that he was actually using the Force, that it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't some trick with magnets or strings or whatever else, that he was actually using it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought his backstory was kind of interesting in that
Mm-hmm.
respect, that he was taken in by a Jedi who was on the run after Order 66 and was stayed with her for a while before he was made to watch her killed in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that story.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have been a little too on the nose if he was another escapee of the temple, well, as a kid. But I like this story for him.
Yeah. And it gives them that cynicism,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, and it's not so hard to believe that like this street urchin who came up and had all these bad things happen to him would turn out like this.
Yeah.
Not like a Jedi who just threw away all that he once
Mm-hmm.
stood for to become this smuggler and pirate and all that
It
stuff.
makes you think about how many other like just force sensitive people there are that didn't become Jedi. They can't find every person
No,
everywhere,
they're just
even
out
when they
using brooms.
were.
They're
yeah.
sweeping casino
Yeah.
stables, and I
Well,
I
felt,
was
I
thinking
felt, excuse me.
about. Oh, sorry.
No, no, I thought Jod was on the road to be an A character, but I think he just kind of ended as a B minus for me. Still strong,
Whoa,
but
a B
Whoa.
minus.
I'll tell you,
Hot
I
take.
think as far as character development goes, they could have given me one or two scenes, like after he got the lightsaber, even just give me like a 3 second scene with him sitting in a corner looking at the lightsaber, thinking or something. Just give me some introspective moments that doesn't need dialogue, but a little more pieces of him, because he really, in the end, wound up to me being just short of three dimensional. He's just kind of like a 2D guy. But that said, he was a great character. He was a great actor. There's potential, and I still think that the last shot that we got of Jod opens up the door that if there's a season two, he's going to play a part 100%.
Oh
Because
yeah.
that look was like, it's almost like that Indiana Jones look in Last Crusade where he's like, "Damn!" And he gave that smile after Indy stole his hat. You
Oh,
know,
the guy
he
when
yeah.
got the
young
hat.
Indy takes his
Yeah,
hat.
it's kind of like that. Like
Sort of a
you got
begrudging
me this
respect
time.
to
Yeah,
You know,
these
speak.
kids who bested him.
exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of Indiana Jones, that episode 5 was
Rich
like
with
an
it.
Indiana Jones mashup of sorts. You had, like the going to the lair, the treasure lair.
Oh yes,
Yeah, so it was
the
like
the treasure room.
you had the big laser thing that lops off people's heads, kind
Oh
of
yeah,
like the big saws in
totally.
Last
Yes.
Crusade.
The
You
kids
had
were too
the
short.
spikes in the ceiling, which were kind of like the spikes in the floor and the
Yep.
ceiling in Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
even the music cues were similar
yeah,
to Indiana Jones.
I definitely that now that you say that it definitely with the treasure room and everything
yeah,
it just that was obviously
that
an
treasure room was
inspiration.
awesome.
And how did they? At first I thought that they just filled that antechamber with acid, and because once they were secured in the room, they're like, okay, well, it's going to fill the room with acid again, and you hear all this screaming.
That was
stuff.
cold.
awesome.
That was
And I was like,
cold-blooded.
I thought Space Circle was dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was done.
I mean,
But-
when he said, turn the acid back on him, and you hear, I'm like,
It was like, what is happening outside those doors? But
apparently
guess-
nobody had problems with it.
Yeah, I guess if it filled up slow enough, maybe they had time to.
yeah, maybe
They
it
just
just
lost,
burned
like,
him.
They
some
probably like
limbs.
rushed in there from up top, like,
Yeah, I don't know.
and he was probably standing in a doorway or something. That's kind of how I see it.
or
He
maybe
was
some of them,
out of
some
the
of the
way.
no-name pirates probably
Yeah.
got
Hey,
disintegrated.
Wait a minute. At any point in this show, did we see a desert planet? We didn't, right?
I don't think
No.
so.
We saw a desolate planet,
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
decimated
a desolate.
planet.
I mean,
but
let's
we
all
didn't
give
see-
Star Wars a little credit. They're growing a little bit.
Yeah, no desert planet. Man, that's amazing.
Impressive.
So, we see this hologram in the pirates' treasure chamber, and that is something I'm surprised that they did not pay off, because it was his name was what was his name? Captain start with a T.
Tech or something, or I don't know. I gotta look them up.
Reagan Tech, not Reagan.
Reagan.
Tech. It's Tackrid or something. But
Tack or something. Captain Tack. Either way.
but his hologram appears, and he's his face is heavily obscured, and you're thinking this is maybe they're setting up something here, like some kind of mystery, and they didn't really circle back to that at all.
They just left it hanging there. I mean,
But
we kind of had our theories going. It sounded to me, I only watched the episode once, but it sounded to me like the same voice of 33, of SM33. And I wonder if he's the captain, but doesn't really have his memory got wiped. Maybe he's the great pirate captain. It's a droid.
yeah,
But no.
and
And I did think that maybe we're going to see him as the supervisor or something. Like there's
Yeah.
going to be a connection. Why was the ship on At-Attin? Where did the pirate captain go?
yeah.
Never found out. Or maybe
That's
we'll
true.
find out in season 2.
Well, they this was the episode that was kind of a turning point too for Jod, and he definitely turns on the children.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I'm the captain. You have to yield. And he keeps saying, and this is also probably some of his soft spot. He's like, just yield. All you have to do is
Yeah.
yield. I won't hurt you. Just
Mhm.
yield.
Yeah. Giving her a way out.
Exactly.
And he's enough of a jerk to them that they believe that he would kill them, even though I feel like we can see he never would. Like he has
Sure.
his life would be so much easier if he just did.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Like when you're a kid growing up, and wait till your dad gets home, and they get the hand out or the belt out or whatever.
belt
But it's kind of like that.
or the lightsaber.
I
Yeah, in
mean,
this case, lightsaber. But you think I think there's times that you think your parents are going to just kill
super
you.
confusing for the kids, man. They're out in
Well-
space in a crazy adventure. This guy
Yes.
seemingly helps them in many different ways, then turns against them at the moment. It's tough. These poor kids have been through the ringer.
Lots
Yeah.
of life lessons for them.
But when Wim ignites the lightsaber wrong,
Oh my god. That poor
And-
kid.
and I'm glad that Wim, he ultimately, got his heroic moment. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
this kid who was always dreaming about this stuff, and he finally has a chance, and the lightsaber goes into the floor
So
and
great.
bounces out of his hand. And,
It's like he didn't lose a limb on that.
yeah, I know. But that for me, the first time I saw that was very unexpected, and I laughed. Like I was like, ah! Because I just didn't. We've never seen that before in a Star Wars
No.
movie. Somebody
Yeah,
doing it wrong.
I don't know. I kind of thought he was going to screw it up. It just looked like the way he was standing there, he
Well,
was going to mess it up.
Sure.
It was such a great build up, and then
And then it was
I
like,
loved
bom, bom.
all these kids were so well cast, and they did such a good job from start to finish.
Yeah.
And I think we picked up from that where the kids managed to escape through this system of tunnels that
Oh,
dumped
yeah,
them out in.
slap the fake meat
They got out of
thing.
One-Eyed Willie's chamber, and
Oh no, they hit
Yes.
the bench. They hit the bench.
Yes, and they all got go through this slide system and ended up on this kind of desolate.
very reminiscent of the
Junkyard.
Goonies slide, where they all came out of different slides.
Yes, and we've got these crazy crab things that
Friends,
the-
friends.
yeah the
That was so
talking
funny.
Just
and-
repeat whatever you say.
Like,
Yes.
yep.
Trouble.
trouble.
I love that Wim is so confident. He's like, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
This is it. The crabs.
Yes,
And then
And then
KB's
later-
like, I'm going to go along with whatever Fern is not doing.
Yeah, I love their little like dynamic and their little fight that gets resolved, and that Wim is like, "Why is everything I think is a good idea a terrible idea?" Like, it's so good.
and they encounter the giant creature, the crab monster.
Yeah, but before that, Wim saves her life.
Oh, he does.
Mhm.
And, like,
Saves
and
KB's life.
KB has got she's got some technology going on back there.
Yes,
Like
she
she's
does.
not just wearing a visor and
It's like
a little
it's like her support
like
gear.
there's like a little
Yeah.
drawer
Yeah,
in
man.
there.
It's like
and-
Lobot's daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but that's where Wim he starts to kind of get his hero's journey
Mhm.
started.
Mhm.
And Neel goes off with Fern. They try to climb up the
Yeah.
cliff.
Yeah, he's
Dude.
like,
They're
that's
doing the
crazy.
Jen Urso climb.
My arms don't work like yours.
I know.
He's trying to climb up this 1,000-foot cliff on a ladder
Yes.
Yeah.
with his elephant arms.
I loved that they all split up into their two like different dynamics. So like for this episode at that point, I love that. I
Yes.
love
Yeah.
them separate with the other like pair ups. But I did think that character would never have chosen to climb that. That
Yeah.
seemed crazy. to me.
Exactly. They're just like, okay.
Good thing they did in 8 episodes, and it's not a lot because I mean these are only 36-minute episodes, really.
Yeah.
Every character got their fair shake. Like they
Yes.
did such a
Yeah.
good job. Like there wasn't really a character that didn't really get fleshed out. Jod maybe a little more fleshing necessary, but still.
Matt, he can't give up this Jod thing.
No, but
I
like
think-
I thought the show the show was very amazing in the sense that we got a Star Wars show that didn't involve any traditional Star Wars characters. It was very unfamiliar. We got to see brand new stuff, but it still felt like good old Star Wars. And they put kids in space and had an adventure, and I loved it. And I liked every
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
episode. Like this is a great show. Like this is one of my favorite things that Disney's put out yet.
With Jod, I feel like it was making me think of like Kylo Ren and how absolutely terrible I thought that redemption. I don't even know that you would call it an arc. It's like I don't even know what you call it. How I felt like I liked that he didn't have a full like 180 and become like a nicer guy yet. Like maybe that'll happen if they do have more seasons. He'll kind of, become a little different or grow a little bit. But I like he didn't have enough time just because these kids were around to become a better person. He's like, no, I'm just still kind of a jerk.
And
Yeah,
it's funny. Jod was still the most adult on that planet because once those kids came back, you could see that the short experience out in space, matured them and gave them more life experience than any of their parents. Because when they came back, I felt like
Yeah.
all their parents were like children.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody on the street too. That everyone, like the people we don't even know, were out there just sort of running aimlessly, like
Yeah.
But of course they were being shot at, and
Yeah.
but
They've been sheltered their whole lives.
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
For the most
let's
part.
talk about we finally get a sense of what the Great Barrier is,
And what At-Attin is about.
Yeah.
and it looks like. And it's very clever because I think if you pull back far enough, it looks like the barrier appears to be like a gas giant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is really great camouflage because no one is going to assume that, a gas giant has no surface. So they're going to assume it's, a gas giant, and they will pass it by. But once it was dissipated, you see, At-Attin there in the very center of it. And I thought that was quite a clever way to hide something
Yeah.
in a Star Warsy way.
Yeah, then you
And
have those zappers in the middle of it.
yeah, that keeps people out.
Yeah.
Do you know what
And
else did that to Star Wars Jedi? Sure.
what happened?
The video game. Sorry.
Oh, did they?
I'm back on the video games did it
Oh,
first.
cool. I
Oh,
didn't know
okay.
that.
But did they hit a planet like that?
They hit a planet inside like something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
a question though, because we learned in episode 5 that At-Attin was, I think we learned 5, the spa planet, that At-Attin was one of the last Old Republic mints
yes.
making actual Republic credits.
Yes.
Now, there were the other planets like At-Akarin, and I think but was At-Akarin ever a mint? Were these mint planets? Because
Right,
they
do
all
they have
had
them-
a mythology around them. There's something going
Yeah.
on, right, with the maps and the pillars with the different coordinates to each of these planets. So it makes sense that At-Attin as a mint would be hidden and private. And obviously, back in the old days, whatever they did transaction-wise was very secure because nobody really knew about the planet. But I didn't really know, was At-Akarin and all the other planets supposed to be the same thing? Were they all supposed to be these cloned mint planets?
Well, yeah, we talked about how the architecture was an exact duplicate.
So does that
Oh.
mean they've still just got like huge vaults full of money? That
I don't
no
know.
one-
They have, well, yeah, I don't know about those other ones, but they have 1,139 vaults.
Yeah, is every other,
At-Attin.
yeah.
Yeah, but they
And what
weren't
does
like
that mean?
At-Akarin wasn't hidden. It wasn't hidden.
1139. Is that a play on 1138?
I think so.
Okay.
But the
It's gotta be, right?
the landing pad
Gotta
was
be.
like a disguise as a field. So if you don't know that landing pad that takes somebody to the vault is there, you wouldn't even know to go there.
Or,
Yeah.
that landing pad probably at one point was a landing pad, but since they hadn't used it in so
Overgrown,
long, it
yeah.
just grew into a field,
That's true.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's worth noting that we do see, I believe, in this last stretch of episodes that we haven't talked about yet, the skin of the onyx cinder, it was sort of
Oh yeah.
a
I thought that was
facade.
really cool.
And
Yeah.
because when it gets pulled away, you kind of have this sleek, cool looking vessel, whereas before it's like a piece of junk.
right.
But
It does make you want to know more about that pirate captain. Like
Yes.
he was so clever, it seems. You
Yeah.
know? How did
Yeah.
he get there in the first place? That's what
I
I
think
want to know.
they dropped some breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
I think that could definitely lead to other places.
Mhm.
But the thing that I really appreciated about this series is that it's a contained story.
Yeah.
There are elements that could certainly be picked up, but we're not leaving people in another galaxy just while Thrawn is invading the galaxy.
Yep.
And you're just like
And is that happening at the same time as this?
similar
It's-
time
It's the
frame.
timeline.
Mandalorian timeline right now. So,
Yeah,
Right?
it's
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think we're
Maybe a
5,
little-
6, 7 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That's when all these series
Man.
happen.
So yeah, bad timing to take down your big
Well,
your big sky
and-
shield.
I mean, so what are the implications?
Well-
I wonder now that this mint planet is now sort of open, and
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's to
It's-
stop anyone from just? I guess the New Republic's going to protect them. Probably. I'm like,
well, yeah,
anyone-
obviously, as we saw,
Yeah, but
then-
they're corrupt. The New Republic has problems.
that's true. But one thing I appreciated about this show is that the New Republic actually came in and did something useful.
Yes.
Yeah.
They destroyed the or captured or killed the
Mhm.
pirates.
I love that scene, by the way.
Yeah.
That whole
Oh.
the whole scene of taking that ship down was great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you can't. I mean,
And
And the
Wim-
X-wings too on the spa planet too. You know,
Yeah.
you had them
Mhm.
there.
And I like how Wim has his little moment where he's got like a new idea of like the brave hero he wants to be now. Like the Jedi thing is kind of he's jaded from that. And he's
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Yeah.
"I'm being like one of these guys.
yeah,
Now he
we
can.
can call any. That's how he
Yeah.
refers to like the good guys. We can call the X-wings
Yeah.
which is well, that's kind of cute and endearing as well. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
it was funny when he tried to talk to Jod and bluff him about the
Huh.
army of Jedi coming, and Jod's like, dude, you don't know
Dead.
anything about anything. Like he goes, the Jedi are all
Uh,
dead. There's nobody coming.
It was interesting when the supervisor or whatever it's called, when it
The
does like
big
the
droid
yeah, when
Jedi,
it's the turn on the Jedi, when it's like, which thing are you lying about? I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, that gave me
Mhm.
That
like
was,
chills
that
a
was
little
pretty
bit.
sharp.
which also informed us that that the
Something
Republic
got through.
was in touch with At-Attin at least up until Order 66.
Yeah.
And then I guess after then nothing because
Shut
the
down,
Republic ceased to be. So that was interesting. And the
Pretty
fact
wild.
that the supervisor, I think I sort of saw that coming. The supervisor was going to be this giant droid head,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was controlling everything. But I wasn't clear on if like Fern's mom who or if she knew this, if this is
It seemed
something
like
that
she did.
She
the
might have,
adults
yeah.
like, this is a great honor that you never get to see the supervisor when you're this young.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and then one of the things that I saw pointed out was, the supervisor's eye was like HAL 9000's
Oh
eye.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like this red eye, and then of course Jod just puts his lightsaber through it and
Yeah, I know,
and
that's that.
completely wrecks it.
Yeah.
Speaking of droids, SM-33 was. I think he was he was probably my favorite character in the show.
Oh, for sure.
It
I
was a
mean,
lot
when
of
they were
fun.
when they were approaching the spa planet, I know we keep going back to that episode, but he's like, Captain Doc, he made the fortress of death with,
Yes.
with baths of acid, and he's telling all this great horror stories. And then they pull up, it's like this luxury resort. He's like,
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Oh, and
yeah,
then
it's,
when
They
they're
really
walking behind the lady taking them around, and he's like, "Oh, it used to be, the big pit of death." And just
he goes to
all
hit
this
somebody, he's
stuff.
got the restraining bolt
I
on
know,
him.
and he's like,
Oh my
He's like,
God.
"Arr."
and
Yeah.
the kids in that episode where they start talking gibberish to pretend like they're old
Yeah.
aliens. Like John's like, yes, these are the elders, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what?
That's
But-
great.
And everybody
But that
saw
was-
through that too, which was hilarious.
But we got to
Of
see him
course.
at the end too in the last episode. He's the hero flying the ship, and
Holding his own
KB's
head.
holding his head so he can
Yeah.
see.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
I
was-
think she rewired him at some point because I think
It
the
looks
head
like she-
was attached to the body. I thought.
Yeah.
Well-
got
well,
I thought I
fully
saw a wire there, but
he got
maybe-
Well,
fully
he-
beheaded. She must have attached it back together.
But he did say you have to hold my head steady
Yeah.
because, but
Yeah,
yeah,
she was holding it, but
and
Nick Frost
that
killed
was-
it. He killed it as SM-33.
Oh yeah, his voice was fantastic.
Oh my
And-
God, when he basically when she's like when he claims the ship and she calls on claimsies, and I was so sure that SM-33 was gonna side with Jod again, and he's just like, I feel like I like when they give the droids like that they do have a little autonomy, because so far he's seemed pretty tied to that programming, but he's like, you know what? I like Fern better.
Yeah.
That's-
And
I
then
like the-
he immediately got his head chopped off.
Oh my God, it cracks
Yeah.
his helmet.
Yeah.
I was like,
What? That was a surprising scene with
Good.
Jod just running in and with the lightsaber and like zoom. Okay, what?
Yeah.
he did a good job of like looking like he held it like a regular big old stick or sword or something.
Yeah.
He didn't really, you
There-
could see before you even realized what his history is that he didn't really know how to use
Yeah,
it right.
it was graceless, really.
Yes.
The way
Yeah.
he didn't
Yeah,
have like the flair.
yeah, like what
No.
you're talking about him being a little two dimensional. I feel like Jude Law's acting fills in a lot of
I
the
agree with
gaps
that.
a
I
little
agree.
bit.
He was almost three-dimensional.
But he was pretty skilled with a lightsaber, too. I mean, he fought off all those stun bolts being shot at him and everything.
Yeah,
all that.
that's true.
But
That's true.
he used it. He used the lightsaber more as a tool than a weapon. I
Yeah.
felt
Yep.
like.
I would agree with that. And he did force push some people.
Yeah.
Which
Mhm.
and that's the first time it clicked with me. Like, okay, he's really using the force because
Yeah.
elsewhere in the series, he's always grabbing something or pulling something
Mhm.
to him. Except for when he makes the little noise to distract people. But I thought, okay, well, he has the Force, and we did get an explanation on that, which
Yeah.
which pleased me. But so Matt, what? So you explained kind of what would have really landed the plane more for you with Jod's character.
I don't need him to have a redemption moment. Okay, I
Sure.
don't need him to be the good guy. Um, but I think they gave you enough little opportunities to build on his character a little more. As because in the first half of the show, they really kind of showed he had the edge, but some humanity and some caring to him. He had that nice conversation with Wim when he was sad, and he kind of gave him a little pep talk, kind of like the Hard Knocks pep talk, but still gave him like the "you'll be okay, kid" kind of thing. But in the end, I can accept that he's a greedy pirate, but I don't know. I think I just needed a few more moments of just him introspectively being more than he was. That's it. I don't need, like I said, I don't need him to be the good guy. In fact, it's better that he's not the good guy. But I just didn't feel that his character. I felt that he was too easy, to be just the bad guy. Like there should have been a little more, a little more.
I tell you what, I thought he was a smooth talker at times.
Yeah.
Because even though everybody's sitting there, everybody's like, this guy's full of crap. And I'm talking about like all his pirate friends and stuff. They still bought into him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty impressive.
And he knows it. Like he's telling the mutinous pirate captain, he's like, it's not going to work. They all like me. They all love me. He's like, no, they don't. And he's like, no, they do.
Yeah. And he managed to stay out of that airlock.
And they do. Yeah. They clearly
not get the button pushed.
Yeah.
But Han Solo was a scoundrel, but he still had enough to him where he wasn't just a scoundrel. And that's what they could have done a little bit more with Jod. But like I said, I'm hopeful that there'll be a season 2.
Well,
I'm not going to count on it, but if there is, I think he's going to shine in that show. I think they're going to be able to really dig into him.
What they did, and I don't know if it's season 2 because, Disney's really reevaluating all the money they're spending. And unfortunately, the viewing numbers for this show were not great.
Yeah, I saw that.
And like I said before, what they did is they kind of ended the story at this natural spot, and that doesn't mean that these characters, they can't show up again, maybe not in season 2, but maybe somewhere else. The stories that are being told with the Mandalorian and everything. I mean, Jod is very adjacent to that world, like bounty hunters and scoundrels, and that kind of thing. And I think that if he doesn't come back in a season 2, there's certainly a place for him somewhere else. If they choose to go that route.
I agree with you. I love that they set up like a plot of a season and they paid almost everything off before the end, but left room for more.
Yes.
Like, that's a season of TV right there.
That's how you do it. And I think that one of the reasons I enjoyed the show so much is that it's like
you can walk away from it,
well,
not be tied to it for 2 more years.
Exactly. And but what I thought is, like, I thought about what Yoda said in The Empire Strikes Back when Luke goes, "What's in there?"
Only what you take with you.
And I didn't take anything with me into this show.
Oh, I had such low expectations for this show.
Yeah.
I really did.
And because, I wasn't waiting for Anakin or Darth Vader or Obi-Wan or Luke or Han or Chewie to show up. I thought, maybe it's a possibility, but it wasn't drawing me back to the show. Right. It's like I'm invested in a new set of characters now. And I brought no baggage like that with me. And unfortunately, a lot of the streaming shows now for Star Wars, they're reliant on your baggage. And I got lots of Star Wars baggage. So you're going to dangle, a deep fake Luke Skywalker in front of me. Of course, I'm going to be like, oh, that's pretty cool. What's that? Or, just, having 3PO or Chewbacca show up somewhere. That's always going to get my motor running. But this show doesn't need that.
Well, it
And
gave us the best of all Star Wars. It gave us amazing ships and visuals that were done with practical effects a lot of the times.
yeah,
It gave us cool planets. It gave us cool locations, cool aliens. It gave us great action, great comedy, and good characters. And which is, I mean, that's the core of what Star Wars was. I mean,
yeah,
and this to me is, I know we talked about it in the first episode that we did, but 100%, this is my entry level to Star Wars that I would rather show my kids before I even get them in the movies now, because their attention span is so short.
yeah,
I don't think they can even sit through a movie anymore. But like this, they can do bite-sized 36 minutes of fun Star Wars and get into it. So,
yeah.
and it doesn't
100%.
interfere with Star Wars. It doesn't get in the way.
No.
It's a siloed out, completely encapsulated show about somewhere in the Star Wars universe, which is cool because I've never seen these planets and these people,
Yeah.
and I get to enjoy it and walk away from it, and
Mhm.
and it doesn't ever cross over and get in my way of other Star
Yeah.
Wars. So
Yeah, that's it. I think we have, now next up on the docket is Andor season 2, which we will be back here in a few months to
I
talk about
literally
that.
just checked about 2 minutes ago if the trailer had dropped yet.
Well, I imagine we'll be seeing a trailer very soon.
God, I hope so.
But I have to before we wrap it up, the thing about Star Wars streaming and the state that it's in now, I was thinking about this. Why? And Lindsay, this may be something right up your alley, but we're getting in the streaming shows, we're getting all these disparate stories from different parts of the timeline. We're getting the Acolyte was 150 years ago, and then we've got Kenobi, which is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. And we've got Andor, which is 5 years before A New Hope. And then we've got all these, the Mando series that are 5 to 7 years after Return of the Jedi. Why not have some Game of Thrones type series, maybe focused in the Old Republic, that is a set of characters that we follow continuously? Because the people who are just casually tuning in, they're watching Kenobi one week, and then they watch Andor the next, and then Skeleton Crew the next. There's no cohesion whatsoever. There's no connection. They all take place in the same world, but there's no narrative that you can grab onto.
So you know how The Last of Us made a really great game and then they made a really great show that people are watching and they're pretty much following it, not to the letter, but pretty close. I'm like, the Knights of the Old Republic is right there. It's right there. Just make a show about that. Like you just said, Jerry, you were so right. That's everything I want.
You put resources into that instead of spreading things out all over the timeline. Give people some cohesive narrative that they can buy into for 3 or 4 years, and make seasons about that. Stop with all the, and I'm not saying I don't like those shows. I like most of them. But
yeah, I feel like we're all pretty deep in it, and I still am like, when is this taking place? Where are we?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, my dad follows this, and he's, he has to call me, and he's like, okay, I need a timeline update here. I'm not sure what's
well, Star Wars has always had problems with timelines.
Well, sure. I mean, the release orders and all that, but I think, maybe there's nothing on the books after Andor season 2. They haven't shot anything. There's nothing there. So I would just like them, I know they're working on season 2 of Ahsoka, which they need to because they left that wide open. But
I just saw the new casting on that one, by the way. Do you see?
Oh, yeah. They replaced.
Speaking of Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
They replaced Ray Stevenson with the Hound.
With the Hound,
not the
which
Hound.
is not.
I think it's a pretty good casting choice.
It's not bad job. And apparently they were close friends in real life. So that's kind of a nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool that he gets.
I think he'll do a good job. It's a good casting.
Yeah. He's very tall and intimidating, like Ray Stevenson. I think it's going to be good. But anyway, that's just my parting thoughts about Star Wars streaming.
Well, listen. Hey, listen. Take streaming and push off to the side for a quick second. I agree with you 100%, by the way. A show like that would be amazing if you put the right marketing, the right resources behind it. But also take a lesson from Skeleton Crew, for movies in the sense that
Mhm.
you can make a Star Wars movie that has nothing to do with anything we've seen
Yes.
before,
Yeah.
that puts me in the universe, that tells me a good story and ends it.
And
You know?
I think, Matt, we just watched that over the past 8 weeks.
Yeah, but that's
Because-
exactly what
4-hour
Star
movie.
Wars should be right now. If you want to make a movie, I don't need more Skywalker sagas. I don't need anything attached to Yoda. All I need is something in that universe that's fun, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I will watch a movie cut of Skeleton Crew because you know it's coming.
Yeah,
Somebody's
me
going to
too.
do that. And I will do that.
Yeah.
Because I think more than any other show so far, Skeleton Crew is a movie that's just chopped up into bits.
Yeah.
So, parting thoughts before we release Matt?
Yeah, I had a couple of things.
Uh-oh, Matt, you're going to be late.
I'll try to be quick. No, I thought it was really cool how they got rid of Brutus. You know, with the kids grabbing him with that arm and then God shooting him.
Ruthless.
And I don't think the kids saw that coming. I think they were like horrified that Jod did that.
Yeah.
Because Brutus was defenseless at that point.
Sure.
Yep.
And he just took him out and it's like, oh, we're in real trouble. I think that's when they realized that who he was.
Yeah.
And what he would do. And then the other thing was, I thought that the writer showed great restraint by not giving any of the kids force powers.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about that with the fight scene at the end at the top of the tower. I was like, I kept thinking because I feel like I've been trained to see this coming.
Yes.
Like, who's gonna have force
That's a
powers?
great
Is
point.
it Wim's dad? Is it?
Yeah, I thought his dad might for a second.
I thought it
there.
would, and his dad was hilarious, by the way. He's just chasing him on the bikes. He's like, okay, but I thought it, and I talked to Brian about this a little bit. I thought it was going to be Wim because
Would have made
just
sense. Would have made sense.
But you're right. They did show restraint. They didn't go there.
I did
but
wonder on that entire planet though. Are they the only city on that whole planet?
I mean, we're talking about Star Wars. There's only one city on any planet,
I
really.
guess right. So I
Pretty
was
much.
wondering, like, is no one ever force sensitive on this planet? Like, what do they do? What then?
I don't know.
Not this necessarily these kids, but any kids.
Yeah.
The robots take them out.
Well,
Oh my God,
they all
are
become
traitors, so maybe they
all
do
become
well.
analysts, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
They just go to school and become an analyst.
The great work.
But
You know what's funny too? Oh, one other thing. Sorry. The money. Okay, so the credits, there's all those credits in that place, and everybody has them. It's no big deal, but everybody outside of At-Attin is wanting those credits.
Don't think those X-wing and B-wing pilots didn't stop and load up their
yeah,
pockets.
They did.
They're all over the like ground leading up to the
they're
crash
everywhere.
ship.
It's just like,
Yeah.
if a plane full of money had crashed in your backyard and there was cash everywhere,
They're
you'd be like,
practically worthless there. They're worthless on
Yeah.
At-Attin.
I know
but they're
you
worth
buy
everything elsewhere.
you buy your lunch with that stuff.
Right,
I wonder.
exactly.
I wonder if in Andor season 2 we hear At-Attin mentioned at one point.
Oh.
It's possible. I mean, because
Because they did do the heist, and there was like
Yeah.
the
they
payroll
mentioned
and stuff. And,
they mentioned an Andor planet in Skeleton Crew.
Which one?
yeah, that's right.
When the SM-33 was thinking of planets that start with A, they said Aldani,
Which is
is-
where they did the heist from.
Yeah, he's like, Aldani. Can't say I've ever heard of no At-Attin.
Can't say I had no At-Attin.
Can't say I remember no At-Attin.
But so anyway,
Yo.
Skeleton Crew. Man.
Lindsay, what are your final thoughts here?
Final thoughts on Skeleton
I'm just
Crew.
so happy that I watched it and it ended nicely, and I don't have to be sad if it doesn't ever get a season 2 because I would have been so mad. I would
Yeah,
have been like,
because you always
can't
wait.
believe I watched this show. God dang it.
That's awesome.
I was when you mentioned that, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I was thinking because I feel like it had a beginning, a middle, an end. It paid off everything I wanted to see paid off, but I'd love to see more. It was so good. Everyone was so good in it. I
Yeah,
loved it.
absolutely. All right, and Matt hates Jod. So
I don't hate John. He's a good character. I actually
I'm
really
just
enjoyed him.
kidding.
I really enjoyed him.
I
I'm
liked him
just
so much.
kidding.
I did want to maybe see him one. Like I liked that he was the bad guy, just through and through. Like he just sucked. But I did like that. There's the potential that maybe he can turn it around.
Yeah, they
maybe.
didn't kill him off.
No,
Yeah.
no, and he does. I think you can tell he likes those kids deep down.
Yeah.
He
But I think
likes
that-
their spunk.
Yeah, and I think that kind of turn takes time and takes more than just like one adventure to change someone. Like that's what I did like that, like you were saying with the restraint on the force powers, like that they didn't try to force it when it didn't really make sense yet.
If there's a season 2 and the kids have to go off planet, who else are going to grab to help them? That's a strange universe out there.
Or run into. I feel like they'll run into him and he'll just be like, not again.
Well,
okay,
so go ahead, Brian.
Parting question. Which kid is most likely to become a pirate?
A pirate?
Fern. I feel like it's Fern.
Fern,
Neel.
probably, yeah. Neel.
Neel?
Poor Neel. All he wants to do is take a bath.
Actually,
most of them are aliens. So.
I think Fern is who's going to break it. Fern is going to break him out of jail in season 2. Mark my words.
I feel like KB too. I feel like KB seems like she has a lot of like ideas that she doesn't. She's kind of been like the sidekick, and so she's ready to be the.
Well, there was one thing they did at the very end of the show where it was very intentional. The ship that Wim sees is a rebel blockade runner, and it goes back to that's the first ship we ever saw in a Star Wars movie. Is the blockade runner coming across? And I saw that and I was like, oh man, that's just really cool. And if you noticed, I don't know if you watched the credits, but the credits were animated like some Marvel movies have animated credits. And it showed all the big battles that we had seen Wim watching on his little data pad. But at the very end, it was him and the 3 other kids together on top of the spaceship. So it's like, they're part of a big story now, which is kind of cool. So anyways,
good job, Disney. Do it again.
Yeah, come on. Stay on the right track here. We are going to wrap it up now, but as we discussed in April of 2025, as it is measured in the old calendar, we will be back with the Cassian Chronicles. And I think we're all greatly looking forward to this. It certainly has the potential to be one of the best Star Wars shows ever, I think. And it's going to be awesome. So we'll see you guys in a few months.
You're talking about the Acolyte too, right?
Okay, now go take care of your sick children, man. All right. May the Force be with you, and we'll see you next time.
Can't say I remember no At-Attin.
You know you can't live without this content. So subscribe to The Hyperspace, podcasting in the 25th century. Follow us on social media, leave us a review, and join us next time as we take you into the 25th century.